I'm not gonna waste much time telling you about the man who needs no introduction. According to LinkedIn, he's a professor and neuroscientist at Stanford. According to the internet, he's the cool uncle of our generation, whom we all gather around to hear share his life stories and his nuggets of wisdom. And to me personally, he's the man I go to for my science lessons. Not about finding out the velocity of an object or learning what covalent bonds are. I still don't know any of that shit. But thanks to Dr. Huberman, I know a lot about how to optimize my life using science. And through this video, I'll share with you his greatest hack for building habits. Let's begin with why habits. Oxford Dictionary defines habit as a settled or regular tendency or practice, especially one that is hard to give up. I know. Getting into the definition of what a habit is and reading out the Oxford Dictionary meaning of it is the cliched thing to do. But maybe that is what it's all about. We chase this ideal of a troubled genius running around living a complete chaos of a life who just has a spark of brilliance and finishes an entire novel in one sitting, or puts in a few intense gym sessions and carves out the greatest physique anyone has ever seen. He pulls all-nighters and builds successful businesses in them. He prefers to remain secluded, but turns on his charisma and charm at the snap of a finger. If you've read a single biography, if you've learnt of any successful person ever, you know that that's just not how it works. The only real way to get good at anything is to do it consistently, is to do it day after day after day. But I don't need to tell you the struggle of having to drag yourself to the gym, or the trouble of getting yourself to sit down, put all distractions away, and get to work. You make 100 deals with yourself. Please, let's just work for a couple of hours. I'll let you do whatever you want in the evening. You make promises to yourself. We'll watch that movie you've been meaning to watch. You negotiate with yourself. Just 2 hours of work and then the movie. Okay, one, but you really gotta go for it for that 1 hour. No distractions, no nothing. Okay, 30 minutes of unfocused, distracted work. And all of that is to get yourself to do it one time. How do you ever get yourself to consistently do what you know you should be doing? Is it even possible? That is where habits come in. Somebody with a habit to go work every day doesn't have to convince himself to put in the work, he just does it. Somebody with a habit to eat healthy doesn't have to convince himself to eat healthy, again, he just does it. He's not having to put himself through a lot of trouble to do it. It's a really positive, a really healthy loop to be in. You're putting in the work, but without really having to trouble yourself to do it, without really facing a lot of difficulty to do it. It's almost like if somebody came to you and complimented you for brushing your teeth every morning. You would feel good about it as well, wouldn't you? You would think, I really am doing quite good. Like I never miss, not a single day. But honestly, it's not really a task for you to do, is it? In fact, it's gotten to the point where it would be inconvenient for you to not do it. So you automatically do it anyways. That's honestly how I feel when someone compliments me on my physique today. And that's exactly what you want to do. You want to build a ton of these good habits so that at one point you're automatically doing all of these good things that you want to do on a daily basis. So, of course, you accrue the benefits of doing them consistently over a long enough period of time, but you're not even having to really make yourself do them. You're not really having to trouble yourself to do them. I hope that makes sense. You get to the point where you're just going about your regular days, and as you keep living those regular days again and again and again, you keep accruing more and more and more benefits. You think of it that way, and you can look at habits as almost as hacks, right? Today I have a habit of meditating and journaling and stretching and doing ab workouts and going to the gym and putting in deep focused bouts of work and eating healthy and more. And I do all of these things on a daily basis. It wasn't always like that. Back when I looked like this, getting myself to do even one of these activities would be the highlight of my day. I can see you on the edge of your seat going, how do I build these habit thingies you're on about? I could tell you what I did, how I built my habits, and let me know if that's a video you would like to see. But for now, let me do you one better. How about I tell you the single most scientific way to go about it? How about I tell you how your body is designed and programmed to build habits so that you can leverage that information to build whatever habits you want to? In the words of Dr. Huberman himself, this is
the most powerful tool for being able to acquire and stick to new habits.
Well, let's get to it. One of the most common advices you'll hear regarding habit building is to do the same things at the same times every single day. Wait, why does that sound so familiar? This is the greatest productivity hack there is. Listen to it, understand it, internalize it. Schedule every day of yours from now onwards according to this following sentence. Are you ready? Do the same things at the same times every single day. While that is good advice, and I still stand by it, it's not the most effective way to build habits. Here's why. This might get a little bit complicated, so stay with me here. Our nervous systems tend to build habits not based on time but on our mental state, meaning how focused we are, how fatigued we feel, how energized we are. Therefore, it's not the particular times of day per se that will allow you to build habits, rather the state that your brain and body are in. That's important to anchor yourself to. And well, as it turns out, particular phases of the day are associated with particular biological chemicals releasing in our brains, which lead to changes in said mental state. So, you insert particular habits at these particular phases of the day. Not times of day per se, but phases of the day. And in doing so, you'll make it far more likely that you'll be able to build habits out of these activities. Okay, so what are these phases? Our body divides the 24-hour day into 3 distinct phases, each with a distinct neurochemistry signature. Phase 1 goes from 0 to 8 hours after waking. Phase 2, 9 to 15 hours after waking. And Phase 3, 16 to 24 hours after waking. During Phase 1, regardless of what you do, adrenaline and noradrenaline and dopamine and cortisol tend to be elevated, which means that it's during this phase of the day, 0 to 8 hours after waking, that is, that when you're most primed to be alert and in a focused state. It's also during this phase of the day when you're most easily able to engage in activities that you feel unmotivated to do. Phase 2, which goes from 9 to 15 hours after waking, is when, regardless of what you do, serotonin tends to be elevated, and noradrenaline and adrenaline and dopamine and cortisol start to come down. This phase lends itself to a more relaxed state of being. And finally, during phase 3 is when everything you've done throughout the day gets consolidated and locked in to the nervous system. Now, all that is fine and good. I mean, it's really good. Knowledge of what I shared with you just now is what made me change my entire routine. More importantly, it is what helped me understand what activities my body wanted me to be doing at different times of the day. Like I said, right? You want to be doing things like the main cognitive work of your day, which would be things like studying and working, as well as gymming, probably even reading during the first phase of the day. Anything that requires a lot of effort from your end. During the second phase, activities like journaling and learning to play music, learning a new language would be best suited. And of course, during the final phase, you want to be sleeping and recovering. But it gets better. We can leverage the knowledge of what we just talked about, the knowledge of different phases of the day, to help you build habits. In fact, again, in the words of Dr. Huberman, this is
The most powerful tool for being able to acquire and stick to new habits.
how do you do that? By simply continuing to do these behaviors consistently. What that does is that over time, your brain starts to associate those mental states with the habits you want to build. And therefore, it starts to associate the different phases of the day with the habits you want to build. Let me make sure you understand. So, for the first 8 hours of the day, your dopamine levels, among other things, are automatically elevated, right? That's what we just talked about when we talked about the different phases of the day. Now, say you start to do deep work every day during this first phase of the day. What will happen is that over time, your brain will start to associate the increase in dopamine, which is automatically happening because it's the first phase of the day, right? Your brain will start to associate the increase in dopamine with you doing deep work. So what will start happening over time is that as you wake up every morning and your brain automatically spikes its dopamine, it will also automatically start to prepare to do deep work. Let's say you wake up at 7 a.m. And so your first phase would go from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., right? And the second would start at around 4 p.m. Also, let's say you really want to learn how to play the guitar, but you skip practicing on most days. Now, if you start making yourself pick up the guitar and sit down with it every day at 4 p.m. for a couple of weeks, what will happen over time is that every day, as every evening, as the clock hits 4, as you start entering the second phase of the day, as your serotonin levels start to rise and your dopamine, adrenaline, etc. starts to go down, your body will automatically prepare and get ready for some guitar practice. The biggest problem we face when trying to build habits is that we try to do something that we know is good for us, but our brain and body are in the mood to just sit around and scroll through Instagram or watch some Netflix or open up YouTube. How much easier would life be if anything that you wanted to do, if any good habit, any good activity that you wanted to do, your brain and body were already prepared to do? How much easier would life be if going to the gym and reading books and studying even seemed as easy to do as brushing your teeth? That is our promise with this protocol. Make your dreams a reality, one day at a time, boys. I will see you in the next one. Okay, and just one more thing. In case you liked the video, in case you liked what I had to share, in case you thought what I shared, what I said was valuable, and if in case you were wondering and thinking and wishing, oh, I wish I had somebody like him to help me through all of this, to guide me, to help me build habits, well, you're in luck. I'm offering my 1 week mentorship program at a 75% discount. I'm offering it for, I'll be honest with you, the lowest price that I'm allowed to charge on Fiverr, which is $5. What will you get out of this? For 1 whole week, I will take up responsibility for your success. Whatever it is that you want out of your life, whatever it is that you want your day to look like, I will guarantee that I make it come true. So go to the first link in the description right now and book my mentorship program for yourself.